So just a quick FYI before I even get into this is going to be spoiled probably. So this movie came out 13 years ago, so if you haven't really seen it, then turn this review off and go watch it, then come back and watch this review. So The Emperor's New Groove. So this movie came out in 2000, so it's 13 years old. It's pretty old, but this movie has some great voice actors, including David Spade, John Goodman, Eartha, Kitt, and Patrick Warburton. Now, I seen this movie when I was younger. I seen this movie, I think, probably when it first came out. And I thought to myself, will this movie still resonate as an adult? And quite honestly, I think this movie is even better as an adult. I think there's a lot of humor in here that you miss as a kid. And when you grow up, you're like, oh my god, I can't believe how they did that and how awesome it is. What I also really like about this movie is it's like post Disney Pixar movies, so there's not a lot of singing in it. This movie has one song, and I can't complain about that because one of the things I hate about Disney movies is the constant singing. The plot of this movie is pretty simple. It's like about a spoiled emperor. He's 18 years old. He's pretty much been pampered his whole life, and he really has no real responsibility. He rules the empire, but he pretty much can do whatever he wants. And the emperor is played by David Spade, so he's got like this sarcastic humor, which I really love. I love David Spade's humor. I think he's really great. One of the first opening scenes, you can see like how much he just doesn't care. He calls upon a village elder who's played by John Goodman, and he's like, hey, where does the sun hit the mountain the best? I'm going to put my water resort right here where your house was because it's a present to myself. And that kind of lets you in on like how much of a dick he really is and how much the world is centered around him. I mean, the tagline for this movie is, it's all about me. And to him, to Emperor Kuzco, it really is all about him. The only problem with this is he's like not used to like certain repercussions. So eventually you know that something's gonna happen to him throughout the movie, and it comes in the form of Yzma, who's like his advisor, and she's kind of like trying to overstep her bounds. She's pretty much advising people when she shouldn't be, and he catches her and he's like, I told you about this, you had to stop. Well, I'm firing you now. And he doesn't care, just like, get out of here, you're fired. And her plan is to take revenge on him and kill the emperor. Problem is that she has like her dumbfounded sidekick that she uses to try to kill him, and instead of killing the emperor, they actually turn him into a llama. Or like, look, just take him out of town and finish the job. And the movie kind of goes on from there, and I'm like, okay, I'm kind of interested in it. I'm like, it's a weird premise that he's turned into a llama. I mean, it's obviously a kid's film when you're like, okay, the guy was supposed to die, now he's turned into a llama, let's just go with it and see what happens. And so Kronk's taking him out of town, and Kronk is one of the most lovable characters in this movie. He's so well loved that he actually got a whole spin-off, and he got a new movie called Kronk's New Groove, which I kind of tried to watch after this, and it just wasn't as good, so I had to turn it off and forget about it. And of course he loses the emperor, and he kind of like ends up with John Goodman's character Pacha. So of course we have Emperor Kuzco, and we have Pacha working together to try to get back to the empire so they can turn him into a human again. And throughout that, we get to see like the emperor grow up and realize he's been selfish and he needs to stop. And that happens obviously at the end of the movie because you have to throw in a lot of humor in between. And this movie really does do that. But then you got the other side with Yzma and Kronk's character, who's after him, still trying to kill him so they can take over the empire. One of the things that you don't see a lot in movies is how this movie breaks the fourth wall. Like, you see the emperor like talking to us about what's going on in the scene, which doing this is like a risk in itself, but they do it to like point out plot holes that you see throughout the movie, which I found to be really funny. I mean, even Kronk's character like has to explain like, hey, how did we beat him back here? And he's like, actually, I have no idea. It makes no sense. And it's really funny that they're ballsy enough to point out their own errors, and because of that, it actually makes the movie funnier. This movie has a lot going for it. I think it's really great. The lack of music really helped me out because I can't stand a lot of singing in a lot of Disney movies. This movie threw that away with just like one song at the beginning and kind of just went with it. And then they had their character development, but they also had like a lot of good scenes in between, and a lot of it was geared toward adults. Like, if you watch it as a kid and then you come back and you watch it again and be like, wow, this was really great, I'm really glad I watched it. It's almost disturbing, like, the adults will get more out of this movie than the kids, which I find really fun. So all in all, this movie is cast brilliantly. The plot is pretty good. Like, you could pretty much apply it to anything, like a spoiled kid and then he has to learn a life lesson, but they take it another step and turn him into a llama, which makes it really weird. But then you also have the side characters who are as funny, if not funnier, than the main characters of the story. So all in all, I think this movie is really great. Kids and adults will enjoy it no matter what. So if you decided to ignore my warning at the beginning, check this movie out, watch it, you'll have a good time. If you've seen this movie before, leave me a comment, tell me what you guys thought about it. I honestly really enjoyed this movie. So great pick this week. I can't wait to see what we do next week, and I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.